Well, hello there, ladies and gents, and bienvenido a Gran Canaria. Well, good morning, ladies and gents. Welcome back to part 2 of this Canary Island caper. Our journey starts today in the impossibly quiet seaside town of Agaete. I came here this morning over the very sea and wind battered north coast of the island. Some very questionable weather hovering on the horizon. It looked proper sketchy. I even considered stopping at one point and putting the Knox waterproof shell over the top because I was getting a bit chilly. The highlight was, and I had no idea about this before we came to this island, but on the north coast I went over a bridge called the Puente de Silva, which was actually used in Fast and the Furious 6. It's that crazy shot where the helicopter or the drone or whatever it is does a sweepy circle around this massive convoy armoured truck thing as it's driving across a huge crescent-shaped bridge over a ravine. And that's the bridge I went over today. But that's not the last time that the Fast and the Furious 6 is going to be featuring in today's video, because the GC-210, touched upon lightly yesterday, is going to be the main focal point of today's riding, and I'm going to go and blast that Ducati Desert X from one end of it to the other with a couple of extra little sightseeing jobbies in between. So buckle up and we'll get on with some Wrigley riding. But first of all, take in these views of this incredibly quiet little cove. This is a bit crazy, the view that you get from this place. Needless to say, we obviously came here last week, had a quick look at it on a Sunday, and the place was absolutely heaving. But yeah, there aren't many people here, but who knows, maybe it'll fill up later on. And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with the Gran Canarian population and their incredible flexible spines, because look at this. Huge rocks, massive pebbles. Yet this beach was completely covered with people lying here looking completely relaxed on towels. They must have had some kind of secret memory foam towel, but I don't think my back could lie on this for any real length of time. Maybe I just haven't tried hard enough. Anyway, the sun is peeking out behind me, so I think it's probably about time to get on the road. Start harvesting some of those Canarian twisties. I think your pulling days are behind you, mate. And just like that, the piece is shattered in this beautiful, peaceful, tiny little town. Read the room, dude. Anyway, with Agaete out of the way and its cutesy little cove beach, Playa de las Nieves, let's go and get involved with some of those misty mountain roads. That is what I like to see. Straight up into the hills, no messing. National speed limit, bish bash bosh, bendies. Bike does have a delightful bark when you give it the pasty. That's induction raw, just like the KTM has. But I'm gonna have to say, not quite as much. This bike sounds a little bit more like a bag of spanners on top of a washing machine sometimes. But that is gorgeous. And despite having the blipper on the downshift, still just enjoy matching it myself more. Oh wow, look at that. Whoa, that'll be neutral. That's not going to get me a very good overtake. It possibly just isn't the right overtaking kind of road. So we'll just chill out and enjoy the sights then, shall we? Alternatively, pull over. And as a wise man once said, this traffic too will pass. Absolutely stunning. Traffic's passed, let's get on with it. Agaete and the Puerto and the Playa das Nieves. Such a dramatic coastline. Even more so in this direction. A surprising amount of traffic for a Tuesday morning. Really do have to watch out here on these left-hand bends because stuff just comes out of nowhere. See? Behemoths like that with their massive 18-metre wide wing mirrors. It's mad that this is one of the nuttiest roads I've been on, and it's probably the busiest. I mean, aside from the motorways, obviously. Oh my word. Always make sure that coming out of the bend puts you on the right side of the road. Literally the right side. Last thing you want to do is swing wide into the front of one of these horrible big trucks. Unless you're into that kind of thing, you know. Everybody has their kink. Gave me the beep. Unfortunately, that's the end of that incredibly twisty bit of road. It does continue, historically, all the way across the front of the coast. But sadly, due to some landslide, rockfall, or potentially over-exuberant use of explosives when they were filming Fast and the Furious 6, that road is now closed, almost in its entirety. So, we're stuck, unfortunately, for a little while with this motorway. It does give me a chance to try out a bit of cruise control. If I can just sit back and let the bike do the work. Cruise control on this thing is really agricultural though. Like when you're going down a hill, if you roll a bit faster, it chops the throttle and then boshes it back on again. There's no finesse there. Come on, Ducati, you're better than that. That's really rubbish. But luckily what we can do after the motorway's out of the way is duck up here for this little section, which already by the look of it promises to be incredibly wriggly. You can see how long it's been closed for. Look, it's in a horrible state. It's almost as rough as the M25. But on an adventure bike, it matters not one toss. Then we get up here to the Mirador del Balcón, which is that little balcony over there. So Well, that was a very enjoyable little detour. Now, I'm just going to pop across this valley and then head up through there as far as I know. I love that the postmen here as well, the correos, they're all on scooters. Absolutely brilliant. Imagine having to charge across that shit every day to deliver your letters on a scooter. Brilliant. There we go, the GC-210 to Artenara. This is the gold for today's video. The gold and the goal. There's usually a river, when it rains at least. I don't know if it's a good sign or a bad sign that it's dry. Maybe some rain is due. Not today! Next week, you can fill your boots. Or your pants, however you want to look at it. But not today. So here we go. This road up into the Valley of Mordor is the GC-210. From everything I've read about it, often called the loneliest road on the island. A challenging sequence of hairpins and S-bends. The tarmac isn't necessarily the greatest. But with this bike, I laugh in the face if you're not the greatest tarmac. Apparently it takes about 2.5 hours to ride one length of the road to the other. We'll soon see about that. It's now 12 o'clock. But most famously of all, which I suppose is a bit sad culturally, is that this road was used on Fast and the Furious 6. They filmed lots of scenes on this complex, twisty and dangerous section of road. So see if you can recognise anything if you're a fan. I know there are some of you out there. To be honest, I might have to force myself to watch the film again afterwards to see if I recognise any of it. But anyway, yeah, enough of my blathering. Here's the GC-210 from one end to the other. Hey Cardo, music on. Oh no, that doesn't fit at all. Hey Cardo, next track. Now we're talking. Pretty sure I saw that guy picking up his bike from Canary Ride. I think this is a blatant photo opportunity. Well, there we go. That's an astonishing view. Worthwhile stop and a chance to put some more sun cream on my neck. Sun cream, ladies and gents, very important. Skin cancer is for wimps. back into the clouds again. Ooh, it's freezing cold. 14 degrees now. And there we go, at Artenara. That's pretty much all of the GC-210, this mystical, magical, potentially fast and furious famous road. In its entirety. It does continue on a slight tiny little bit to Tejeda there. We saw that yesterday, and in my opinion, the best bit was definitely the first bit down there at the bottom. That was thoroughly enjoyable. So now I've just got the little ascent over or around this peak before the ascent back down the other side, hopefully the sunny side, and back down into the city. That's if I don't freeze to death. 11 degrees now in summer gear. I've got the Nox Shield jeans, the Nox Urban Pro Mark II and the Nox Urban Pro gloves, which are all fantastic when it's hot. But when the weather suddenly changes like this, the blessing becomes a curse. But I think I'm going to man up and just get to the warm bit rather than stop and put warm stuff on. Incidentally, because I forgot to mention it, one end of the GC-210 to the other took 40 minutes with stops. Well, there's 2 hours nonsense is about, maybe in a camper van. The twists just go on and on and on. It's amazing that such a small island can have so many twisty roads. The golden ball in the sun's doing his work, back up to 17 now. Oh, that is pleasant. Nothing like the name of this town, Terror. Got a cutesy little town centre over there, but you can't get to it unless you get on foot. And down there at the bottom of the valley is the bridge that we started on this morning, so it's a very fitting end to today's riding. It's the last little descent into the city to Las Palmas. And there we go, back onto the motorway for the last stretch. So after a great day on the bike, on the twisty roads of Gran Canaria, it's time to go back to the city, the tapas and the cold one. Keep forgetting, you're not Moto Geo, Andy! So as I breeze back into the city, breeze being the operative word because it's incredibly windy, I thank you very much for joining me once again on part 2 of this Canary Island caper. Huge thanks once again to Canary Ride for providing the bike that I've been bombing around on all day. I can't recommend the roads enough, and the guys at Canary Ride have recommended most of the stuff that I've seen, so they obviously know their stuff, and they've got a great selection of bikes as well. So if you're thinking about doing something like this, do check them out and tell them I sent you. Otherwise, hold on tight and part 3 will be along very soon. I wish I could tell you exactly what I'm going to be doing, but I haven't decided yet. But ultimately, keep yourselves out of trouble, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra!